Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going to highlight an occupation task analyzer app created by Mike, a Charming Data community member. This app was created with Plotly Dash and ChatGPT, and it was part of the February Charming Data project called AI in Today's World. The app takes numerous tasks from certain occupations and it rates the likelihood of those tasks being impacted by AI in three different categories: automation, augmentation, and productivity. You can also select a specific task in the drop down below and see the breakdown behind ChatGPT's analysis. If you scroll down a little more, you'll actually see information on correlations between various categories, as well as a series of bar charts that compare between all these occupations. Now, the link to this app is actually live, so if you want to check it out, just go in the description section under the video. You can also get access to the GitHub repo that has all the code that Mike wrote for this app. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Adam.
Um, Mike, what really impressed me about this app when you submitted it is the amount of research that you put into this project and all the analysis that you did with ChatGPT. Can you please tell us how all this got started?
Sure. So I think, like a lot of people, I over the past year became aware of, it's all over the news, ChatGPT and generative AI. And then there's always talk tied to that is how is that going to impact people's jobs? How does it automate work, or how does it augment work? I think it's a task that, concerns me and concerns a lot of people. So I want to kind of try to get better visibility on all of that. And so I had to develop a methodology, which I tied in with the February project. And the way to do that is, or the way I went about it was, first I would want to know a full list of jobs that are out there, whether it be customer service representatives, accountants, firefighters, waitresses, civil
And this is
engineers, and
specific in the US or around the world?
yeah. So this is actually here. I can pull this up. Where did I get this information from? And when I say this information, I mean occupations and tasks. There's actually a freely available by ONET Resource Center. They have a database. So this is not, I don't believe they are a government organization, but they receive grants from the government. And what they do is it's like, I guess on a yearly basis, they do surveys across the United States. And right now they have about 923 occupations that are representative of the U.S. And they will speak with those people. They'll do interviews with them, finding like what are the occupation titles or alternate titles? What are the tasks that they do? Education levels, skills that are needed for all of those tasks. So for the purposes of this project, just to limit the scope, because this could be huge, a lot of work, I focus just on the occupations and tasks. And if anyone's interested, they can go here, download this. And I use the MySQL, but you could do text, Excel, whatever you're comfortable with. So that's what I ended up doing. So yes, it's representative of the United States. I ended up dropping that into a CSV file. So let's say the very first one here is chief executives. It'll give you a little description of what they do. And chief executives, it looks like they have a total of 31 tasks that they perform on a regular basis. But you can see it lists about 923 of these occupations in total. So I got that out of the way. I know all the jobs, or most of the jobs in the US, and what each job does. Next was trying to figure out, let's say for sales manager, review operational records. I used ChatGPT to kind of fill in the blanks. And what I mean by that is, here's an example. I made a custom ChatGPT where I feed into it the occupation. So let's say civil engineer, and the task. In this case, compute load and grade requirements and so on. And I structured it in a way to tell me, in a consistent format template, give me an introduction on that task within that field. Okay. AI's impact on automation with AI's prediction on augmentation percent. How much of that task can AI automate augment productivity multiplier. And I started with just give me the values, but then I thought this needs to be backed up somehow. How do I know I'm just not getting random numbers? So then I asked it, give me some product examples like Autodesk Civil 3D, Bentley system, and so on, along with some case studies, along with a conclusion. So that's how I got the other side of it. How does AI impact this job?
So this is all this data that you got from ChatGPT is what you eventually ended up plugging into the table inside your Dash app, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So I had to do it kind of manually. So I would drop in this information. It would give it to me back. And then over here, this is the actual CSV uploaded. So here's the occupation, the task, and everything Chat GPT told me. And this is what feeds into the
Yeah,
Dash app.
I see. Now, Mike, the GPT that you created seems very helpful for analysis of many other occupations and tasks. Your time was limited, so you did about 5 occupations and maybe like 30 or 40 tasks. But if somebody wanted to use the same GPT to continue your work and maybe even improve on it, is this GPT public or you kept it private for now?
For now, it's private, and I probably wouldn't make it public. Not because I want to just keep it to myself. I'm happy to make it public. But one of these things is I'm new to learning, AI, Gen AI, and there's actually a lot to learn. And one thing I have learned, and it was a healthy exercise going through this, is I actually don't really trust the numbers. So one of the things with when you ask GPT a question, it will give you an answer. And what I've since learned is if I ask this question again, right now it gives me 70. If I were to ask the same question again, it might give me 30 the next
Oh,
time.
there's a big volatility. It's not like 70, 65, 72. It's
there is volatility. So that's one drawback to the methodology. I've come up with a new approach, which I think that solves that problem. It's going through this, you do learn the importance of prompt engineering, of
right.
how
Which is
you
like a
should
whole,
ask.
it's a whole job, right? It's a whole field.
It is, and I think it's pretty in demand. I recently heard the term AI whisperer. Companies want AI whisperers who know how to talk or prompt AI in the right way. I was showing this to someone yesterday who made a very good point. Also, with the case studies, this could just be a hallucination. So if you ask ChatGPT, give me a case study on how AI was used for this task, it will give it to you, even if it doesn't exist. Okay. So that's flaw number 2 to the methodology. And then there's one more issue that I'm working through on like version 2 is what this does not do is it does not differentiate between generative AI or pre-existing AI. So a lot of this is not generative AI. This already exists. So I'm trying to find how Gen AI is going to affect the workplace. But this already exists. So it's not like Autodesk Civil 3D is going to take my job. This has been in existence for a while now.
So in other words, you have some more prompt engineering to do to get the results you want.
Yes, yeah. It's a matter of prompt engineering and just the methodology, how you go about getting this information.
Cool. So this is how you actually got things started. Now, can you share more about the app itself and you building it?
Sure. So let me pull this up. So again, ideally, you want to have anyone can come to this if they're concerned about, how is AI going to impact my job or just out of interest, they'd be able to search for their field. And let's say in this case, I'll pick civil engineers. And then from here, you can quickly get a sense of these are my tasks. And some occupations may have like 30 tasks, but you only do 10 of them. Let's say you might not do all of them. So here you get a good sense of, is it going to automate my tasks? Or maybe like, I don't even like doing this. I'm glad it's going to automate it. How much will it augment? How much will productivity multiplier? Yeah. And let's say you're really interested in inspect project sites. You can come down here, select inspect project sites. Then you'll get like a quick little briefing on how AI will automate that role, or is in this case already has the potential to automate the role. how it may augment it over here, along with productivity explanation of like this can increase a civil engineer's productivity by 2 times. And then you want to go a little bit further. You might want to ask, okay, well, how will it impact? Give me some concrete examples. It'll then give you drone deploy, and this is a real thing. You know, if you Google this or you ask ChatGPT about it, they have an actual website where it'll fly drones around and take imagery of your sites, and it does all sorts of stuff. But again, it's not generative AI. It's pre-existing. And then you might want to have some case studies. Again, not sure if this is hallucination, but with like a version 2 of the app, you would have more, reliable information on here along with a conclusion. So that is if you want to just really dig into a specific occupation. If you want to get more of a bird's eye view of where does your occupation stand in relation to, the entire labor market or workforce, that's the purpose of these charts. And I guess maybe I'll start down here at the bottom, and then I'll swing back up to the scatter plots. So what I want to do is lay out on here by occupation, what percentage of, so right now I'm showing like 60% for accountants. So this is actually the average of those 5 tasks. So on average, 60% of the job can be automated or already is being automated. So I do that for automation. I do that for augmentation. And I also do that for productivity increase per occupation. And this one looks how I would expect it to look in terms of productivity increase, because they say with AI or Gen AI, it's the more knowledge domain. So the more, let's say, education or technical skills, like more knowledge you need to do the job, Gen AI is more equipped to handle. So you would expect type of jobs like accountants, civil engineers to rate higher than something like waitresses, firefighters, which has more of a physical aspect. You have to actually be there to move. And I guess one thing to point out here is I was actually surprised. So let's say waiters and waitresses, automation 70%. Or like 60%. And I thought that
seems a bit high.
Yeah, it does. It does. So let's drill into that a little bit. Here's one, like clean tables. How is AI going to automate cleaning tables? And I think this is kind of like, it ties in with like the hype or the scare. A lot of people make YouTube videos trying to, the scarier the title is, the more clicks they'll get. Same with like the news. That's just how we are as humans. Right. But if you look at it, robotic cleaning assistants, and if you were to do some research or ask ChatGPT, how much does this actually cost to implement at a restaurant? It's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars to implement a cleaning robot that will clean each table. And then what if it breaks? Right. It's cost prohibitive. So I think people should just keep that in mind. Just because your job can be automated, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to.
That it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. And then coming up here to the scatter plots, what I was trying to achieve here is I have two in a row where the axes are the same: augmentation percent, automation percent. So what I was trying to figure out here is, let's say this is by employment. So each one of these dots here is an occupation, and the size of the dot represents how many people work in that field in the US. So the largest one here is customer service reps. There's about 2.8 million. But let's look over here at accountants. There's 1.4 million. And if automation percent is at 60%, can you kind of derive from that? Is it possible that 60% of accountants will lose their job? That's not the case here, again, because this is pre-existing AI. Version 2, I'll want to look at like how is generative AI going to tie in with that. But that was the idea here. Get a sense of how at risk is each occupation and quantify that by actual humans. Right. If you got 1.4 million, 60% of that. Same idea down here, except for automation and augmentation, but by income. So let's say right here, medium income for accountants is 78,000. And I kind of wanted to, let's say you can take 78,000 multiply that by 1.4 million, multiply that by 60%, and then you would get kind of like the impact on the U.S. economy, how much wages are lost in a year,
Interesting.
potentially because of the automation. Then finally, I'll come down here. This is a more interesting one, and it does tell you off on the side. It does see a 0.92 positive correlation, which is pretty significant between median income and productivity increase. So over here is median income. Here is employment. Not too much going on with like correlation with employment, but you do notice as we go up the spectrum here of income, each dot, which represents productivity increase, the dots get bigger pretty much as you go up, which ties in with the idea that the more knowledge you need to complete a task, probably the more you'll be paid. But at the same time, the more at risk you are, because Gen AI is just good at taking the vast amount of information that is knowledge based, all the papers that have been written, and just doing it for you. So I thought this was an interesting chart. And I'll stop there. Let me know if you have any questions or anything.
No, thank you. This is wonderful. Thank you for. I saw this a couple of times when I talked to you before this recording, and I remember this last scatter plot that was a pretty interesting to me, that correlation. So thank you for highlighting this here for our audience. Is there anything else that you wanted to highlight or comment on, or?
Just that. I mentioned this earlier. It's been a great learning experience for me. I think the idea behind this was good, but it's not until you pull up your sleeves and you start doing the work, and then you have an actual example in front of you, that you start to get ideas of A, how you can improve upon it, and B, where you went wrong. So I had mentioned there was the prompt issues I had, and you learn along the way. And I think the community you have is just, it's a great opportunity to just hop in and jump on a project. Some people have difficulty, they want to learn this stuff, they want to make an app, but they're bad at coming up with an idea. So I think I didn't really have to come up with an idea. The February project was an idea suggestion, and everyone just runs with it. And this is what I came up with.
Thank you for your kind words, Mike. Even for me, I learn a lot from what you all build from these monthly projects, and the usage of the libraries, this usage of ChatGPT. Really exciting stuff, like that prompt engineering and how you build your GPT. Hopefully when you make version 2 or version 3, let me know and I'll add it to this video and to the Charming Data platform, because definitely people can learn a lot from it. But yeah, a reminder to everybody that if you want to access the app on your browser, you want to see it, you want to play around with the code and see how Mike built this, we will add these links under the video. Thank you for watching. Mike, thank you for joining and sharing your app with us. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that we had a chance to show our viewers this beautiful app. If our viewers would like to join the Charming Data channel for the March project and the April project, or if you're seeing this video a year from now for the January project, just go to charming data.com or click on the link above, and you'll be able to join this free and open community. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Bye, Mike.
Goodbye.